There's something the wealthy do that almost no one talks about. It's not about flashy investments or private equity deals. It's not a new app or a secret club. It's actually very simple, and yet it quietly separates those who grow wealth from those who stay stuck. It's called the 5-hour rule, 5 hours a week. That's it. 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, dedicated to learning. No pressure, no deadlines, no grades. Just one focused hour every day to learn, reflect, and grow. And while most people spend those same hours binging a show or endlessly scrolling social media, the wealthy are using that time to build a quiet advantage. Let's break down how the 5-hour rule works and why the people who use it are almost always the ones who get ahead. Number 1. The rule is simple but powerful. The 5-hour rule was inspired by Benjamin Franklin, who spent an hour every day learning, reading, writing, experimenting, reflecting. It's the habit that helped him become a writer, inventor, diplomat, and one of the most respected minds in history. And since then, the rule has quietly influenced some of the most successful people of our time. It's not something they squeeze in when they're less busy. It's something they protect. And the key isn't intensity, it's consistency. Because 5 hours a week may not sound like much, until you realize that's 260 hours a year. More than 6 full work weeks of learning. Quietly, without distraction. Number 2. Wealthy people treat learning as a discipline. Here's what most people do. They stop learning once school ends. They graduate, get a job, and let life take over. Days get busy. Learning becomes optional. But the wealthy don't see learning as optional. They treat it like a responsibility. To them, knowledge is leverage. Learning isn't just a hobby, it's an asset that compounds. Every new book, idea, or insight becomes a multiplier. It helps them make smarter investments, spot trends early, communicate more clearly, or solve problems faster. And the more they learn, the more confident and calm they become. They don't react to trends, they prepare for them. Number 3, it's not about hustle. It's about reflection. There's a massive difference between being busy and being intentional. Most people are caught in what feels like endless motion. Meetings, notifications, messages, emails, go, go, go. But the 5-hour rule slows things down. It creates space to think. That's one of the richest forms of growth. Silent reflection. A lot of the upper class doesn't win because they're always doing. They win because they carve out time to ask better questions. Time to read deeply, journal clearly, and process ideas in ways most people never stop to do. That's why they don't burn out. They realign. Weekly, quietly. Number 4, they don't wait for motivation. They build a system. The 5-hour rule isn't glamorous. It doesn't give instant results. It's not sexy. And that's why it works. Because the people who practice it don't rely on motivation. They build a system. They set aside a specific hour. Maybe it's the first hour of the day. Maybe it's right before bed. And they stick to it like they would a gym routine or a business meeting. Sometimes they read. Sometimes they listen to a podcast. Sometimes they just write down what they've learned that week. The content changes. The format varies. But the hour is sacred. Number 5. It builds mental wealth, not just financial wealth. We often think of wealth in numbers. Bank accounts, investments, assets. But the wealthiest people think bigger. They invest just as much in their mind as they do in markets, because when your thinking improves, your life improves. You make better decisions. You communicate more clearly. You respond with confidence instead of panic. That's mental wealth. And the 5-hour rule quietly builds it. Imagine what happens when, over the course of a year, you've read 12 books, written 50 journal entries, listened to 100 thoughtful interviews, and taken 5 online courses. You don't just know more, you are more. Number 6, while others scroll, they study. Let's be honest, most people are glued to their phones. In 5 hours a week, they consume hours of random content. Funny videos, scandals, rants, reels. Meanwhile, wealthy people use that same time to consume ideas, not noise. They're learning how to structure a deal, understanding human behavior, studying history, deepening their knowledge of the world. That's how they develop range. That's how they start spotting patterns the average person misses. It's not because they're smarter, it's because they've trained themselves to focus where it matters. Number 7. The 5-hour rule is the foundation of quiet confidence. Ever notice how the truly wealthy rarely brag? They're calm, measured, clear. They don't need to be the loudest person in the room because they've built something solid. internally. That's what 5 hours a week of learning does. It anchors you. While others guess, you study. While others panic, you understand. While others try to impress, you grow. Quiet confidence comes from preparation, from showing up every day to invest, not just in stocks, but in yourself. Number 8, the rule works at every stage of wealth. You don't need to be rich to use the 5-hour rule. In fact, most wealthy people started it before they were successful. That's how they got ahead. Because here's the truth. Every stage of life benefits from more clarity, more strategy, and more knowledge. Students, entrepreneurs, creatives, professionals, parents, everyone can benefit from learning more intentionally. The difference is the wealthy prioritize it. They don't hope to get smarter. They schedule it, and the results follow quietly. Number 9, it helps you move from worker to thinker. Most people are stuck in worker mode. Wake up, grind. Finish the to-do list. Repeat. But the wealthy know that real power doesn't come from doing more tasks. It comes from thinking bigger. That's what the 5-hour rule gives you. Time to step back, to reflect on your direction, to question your assumptions, to zoom out and actually plan instead of just react. When you shift from constant doing to thoughtful direction, everything changes. You stop running in circles and start walking in purpose. Number 10, it's the most underrated wealth habit of all. The 5-hour rule isn't new, it's not flashy, but it works. In a world where people chase shortcuts, quick wins, and instant dopamine, this habit stands out because it's quiet. It doesn't give overnight results, but give it a month, a year, 5 years, you'll look back and realize it's one of the most powerful investments you've ever made. Because the more you learn, the more you earn. Not just money, but insight, control, peace. And those are the real signs of wealth. Number 11. It trains you for the long game. Quick wins fade, fast money burns, but deep knowledge, it lasts. The 5-hour rule teaches you patience in a world addicted to speed. It helps you focus when everything else is engineered to distract. And it reminds you that greatness, true sustainable success, comes from showing up for yourself even when nobody's watching. That's why the wealthy keep showing up for their hour, every single week. Not because they're bored, but because they're invested. And that investment pays off in ways money alone never could. The 5-hour rule is simple. 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, dedicated to learning. That's it. No hacks, no filters, no algorithms. Just you and your mind, getting sharper, calmer, and more valuable over time. The wealthy don't use this rule because they have free time. They have free time because they use this rule. So while others are busy flexing, rushing, or reacting, they're quietly building an edge, 1 hour at a time. If you found this valuable, don't just leave. Level up. Hit that subscribe button and join the people who move differently. Quiet growth, smart money, real freedom, one video at a time.